everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today I wanted to share a special recipe that would be perfect for the upcoming Eid al-Fitr, also called the Meaty Eid, or any festivity or occasion for that matter. This butter cake is inspired by the Persian Loaf cake and has pistachio, rose and cardamom notes. It is then topped by a sweet and tangy lemon glace icing, making it the cherry on the top. You will be surprised at how fresh, light, yet extremely moist and flavorful this pistachio rose cake is. And the best part is that it is so easy and it is so quick, and you can make it without any machines, which means no hand blenders and no whipping of anything. So let's get started with the recipe, but before that, please do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up. Coming towards the recipe, the first thing you'll need is 1 cup of pistachios and 2 tablespoons of almonds. And I know I said no machines, but you can definitely use a mortar and pestle and also a Ziploc bag and a rolling pin to hammer down and turn both of them into powder form. And this is how you want them to be: ground but not completely powder. You don't want them to turn into sugar. You still want them to have a little bit of a texture when you add it later to the cake. So next, I am going to use my weighing scale, which I always say, if you want to bake more, invest in one. It will take your baking to the next level. So to this, I'm adding 225 grams of all-purpose flour, and this is a little tip I wanted to share. If you press the 0 mark on your weighing scale, you can use the same bowl to measure everything, which means less dirty dishes. So next to this, I'm going to add about 200 grams or 1 cup of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and half teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda and baking powder are both completely different. Do not replace each other. And then I'm adding the pistachios and almonds we ground earlier, and just mix it up so that all the pistachios and almonds are equally divided into our mixture. It also aerates the batter and it makes the cake a little fluffier. You're just adding a little bit of air into this. So next, for flavoring, I'm adding half a teaspoon of cardamom powder. If you don't have it, you can use cardamom pods. Take out the seeds and just grind them. And then a zest of 1 lemon. When you're zesting the lemon, be careful to only grate the peel that is on the top, which is the bright yellow part. That is where all the fragrance is, and not the pale part that is under it, because that is bitter and it's going to make your cake a little bitter. Mix it all in, again, evenly distributing everything. And then we're going to come towards the wet ingredients. So for that, the first thing you'll need is half a cup or 113 grams of butter, which should be melted, but it shouldn't be warm. Next, I have a cup of buttermilk, which I simply used by mixing 1 cup of milk with about a tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice. Let it stand at room temperature and it's gonna thicken and curdle up. Then I'm adding half teaspoon of rose water, not essence, rose water, and don't add too much of it because it can overpower everything very quickly. And then I had 3 eggs at room temperature. Then all you have to do is add everything to the flour mixture and just simply whisk with a spoon or a fork. You don't even need a special whisk for this cake. A fork is pretty good. And this is how your mixer should look after you have nicely incorporated everything. Then it's time to prepare the baking dish, which should ideally be done before you start mixing the cake batter. You can use a loaf pan or an 8 or a 9-inch round pan for this recipe, but in the video I'm going to show you how to do it in both the loaf pan and also in the round cake pan, just because I can show you guys how you can decorate it afterwards. So just transfer the batter into the prepared pans. I buttered them and I aligned them with a piece of parchment paper. Make sure you have it nicely coated everywhere so nothing gets stuck. And then for baking, it's going to be at a preheated oven of 350 Fahrenheit, and it's going to take 30 to 40 minutes in the oven. And once it's done, take it out and insert a toothpick or a skewer or a sharp knife. And then if it comes out clean, it means that your cake is done. So while the cakes are cooling down, let's prepare the lemon glacé. I have about 1 cup of powdered sugar, and make sure that you sieve your powdered sugar because it's usually very curdly, and it's gonna take you, of course, a lot more time to take out the curdles and get it smooth if you don't sieve it out. And to this I'm adding some lemon juice. It's of course because it's lemon glacé icing, but if you don't like the flavor of lemon on the cake, you can actually use some room temperature milk to turn this into a glaze. So all I'm doing is adding lemon juice slowly into the sugar, just because you want it to be not too thick and not too thin. You want it just at the point where it drips off the cake and it sets. So for a total of 1 cup I used around 3.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. It's the same lemon that I used the peels of. I cut it up and I just simply added it to the powdered sugar. So once that is done, you have to be a little quick because the lemon glacé or the glaze, it can dry up fairly quickly. It starts to develop a crust, and you want it to crust on top of your cake and not in a bowl. But if that happens, make sure that you're using a microwave safe bowl. Just heat it up for maybe 5 seconds, and then let's start decorating the cake. For the round cake, you're going to start by drizzling the lemon glacé icing all over on the sides, and you can go as heavy or as light-handed as you want. If you love this glaze, you can easily double up the batch and add a thicker coat. So do 1 coat like this and then do another coat. And then on top, I'm going to add some more slivered pistachios, and I'm going to add roses around it. And also I'm going to take a bud of rose and I'm going to crush the petals, and then I'm going to add it on the sides as well. So that's how you would do a round cake. And let's look at how beautiful and delicious and moist this cake is. Isn't that gorgeous? The green, it looks so wonderful. It's soft, it's moist, and it has the perfect texture a good butter cake should have. So now it's time to decorate the loaf cake. Again, start by drizzling some lemon glacé on top of it. You can go as heavy or as light-handed here. Spread it evenly, give it a little push on the corners so that it can drip. These drips are my personal favorite part when it comes to this cake. It really enhances the look of the cake and just make it look extremely wow. So once you're done with the glacé on the top, you can add slivered almonds. I'm using pistachios here. You can also use rose buds like we did for the round cake, but for this one I decided to just crush a rose petal and then add it on top. These are the dried rose petals that you can get from any desi store or any Middle Eastern store. Isn't that gorgeous? And this has quickly become a favorite in my house, especially with my friends and family as well. And it is so nice and tender, and it pairs extremely well with tea and coffee, and it's not overly sweet. It's light, it's fluffy, and it's just the perfect cake to have any time of the day, especially in spring or even in winters. So that was all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this recipe. If you did, please do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up and sharing your recreations with me on my Instagram page. Until next time, the Homemaker Baker, over and out.